The ride home. The moment Coach Ryan's hand brushed against mine as he shifted gears, I felt something I hadn't felt since my husband's funeral 3 years ago, and the guilt hit me like a truck. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was the photo that had just buzzed onto my phone. My son Tyler, unconscious in what looked like a hospital bed, with a text from an unknown number reading, "Your secrets are catching up with you, Emma." My hands trembled so violently that Ryan pulled the car over immediately. Rain hammered against the windshield of his old Jeep, and through the blur of water and tears, I couldn't process what I was seeing. Tyler was supposed to be at his friend's house tonight. He was supposed to be safe. But someone knew. Someone knew what I had buried for 15 years, and now they were using my son to destroy me. "Emma, what's wrong? You've gone completely pale." Ryan's voice cut through my panic, his blue eyes searching my face with genuine concern. This man, this impossibly kind, frustratingly attractive man who had been coaching my son's soccer team for 8 months, had no idea that accepting his offer of a ride home might have just put him in the crosshairs of my past. I should have told him to drive away. I should have protected him from what was coming. Instead, I heard myself whisper, "I need to tell you something. Something that could change everything." The weight of those words hung between us like a living thing. Ryan's hand found mine in the darkness, his touch warm and steady against my trembling fingers. In that moment I realized I had a choice: continue hiding behind the walls I had built, or trust this man who had somehow slipped past every defense I had. "Whatever it is," he said softly, "you don't have to face it alone." 8 months earlier, I had walked onto that soccer field as a ghost of the woman I used to be. At 45, I had mastered the art of invisibility, the quiet widow who volunteered at every bake sale, who smiled at all the right moments, who never let anyone see the cracks in her carefully constructed facade. My fair skin had grown paler from too many nights spent staring at ceilings. My long silky chestnut hair, once my pride, I now wore in a perpetual ponytail, a symbol of a woman who had stopped trying. The curves I had once celebrated were hidden beneath oversized sweaters and practical jeans. I had made myself small, unremarkable, safe. But I showed up for Tyler. Always for Tyler. He was 15 now, all gangly limbs and teenage attitude, but when he stepped onto that soccer field, I saw glimpses of the little boy who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. I would have walked through fire for that kid. "You must be Mrs. Mitchell." The voice came from behind me, warm and teasing. "I recognize you from the mom description your son gave me." And I quote, "She looks like she could be in movies but acts like a librarian." I turned to find Ryan Cooper extending his hand, a crooked smile on his face that somehow made his sharp features both boyish and devastatingly handsome. He was tall, at least 6'2", with an athletic build that suggested years of dedication rather than vanity. His fair skin was sun-kissed from hours on the field, sandy brown hair slightly disheveled by the breeze. But it was his eyes that caught me, green with flecks of gold, holding a spark of mischief that felt dangerous to a woman who had forgotten how to play with fire. "My son clearly needs to work on his compliments," I replied, surprising myself with the hint of sass in my voice. "I don't know." Ryan's smile widened, revealing a dimple in his left cheek that should have been illegal. "I think he nailed it. There's definitely something cinema-worthy about you, Mrs. Mitchell. Very Grace Kelly meets small-town soccer mom." I felt heat rise to my cheeks, an unfamiliar sensation that both thrilled and terrified me. Grace Kelly? That's quite the comparison for someone covered in carpool crumbs. Ah, but Grace Kelly would have made carpool crumbs look elegant. Just like you. He winked, and I felt something flutter in my chest that I had assumed was dead and buried. "Sarah," I corrected, then caught myself. "I mean Emma. Emma Mitchell." Good Lord, this man had me so flustered I couldn't remember my own name. "Mrs. Mitchell makes me sound ancient." "Well, Emma," he said, holding my gaze a beat too long, "I have a feeling this is going to be an interesting season." He had no idea how right he was. The following weeks became a study in sweet torture. Every practice, every game, I found myself watching Ryan more than I watched my son, and hating myself for it. He moved with an easy confidence, but there were moments when I caught something else beneath the surface. A shadow would pass over his face when he thought no one was looking. Pain recognized pain, and I saw mine reflected in his eyes. "You're staring again," my best friend Patricia whispered during a particularly close game. Patricia had been my rock since college, the one person who knew almost all of my secrets. Almost. "I'm watching my son," I lied, not taking my eyes off Ryan as he demonstrated a technique to one of the younger players. "Your son is the goalie. He's on the opposite end of the field from where your eyes have been glued for the past 20 minutes. Patricia nudged me with her elbow. "Not that I blame you. That man is what my grandmother would have called a tall drink of water." "Patricia." "What?" "I'm married, not blind. And you, my dear, are neither. When's the last time you went on a date?" "I'm not interested in dating." "Your blush says otherwise." I touched my cheek, horrified to find it warm. "It's just the sun. It's October, Emma. And overcast." Patricia's expression softened. "David's been gone 3 years. He would want you to be happy." The mention of my late husband sent a familiar pang through my chest. David had been a good man, not perfect but good. He had given me Tyler, given me stability, given me a place to hide from my past. I had loved him in my way, even if that love had been built on a foundation of secrets. "I don't know how to be happy anymore," I admitted quietly. "I've forgotten." "Then maybe it's time to remember." After Tyler scored the winning goal that day, Ryan jogged over to where I stood, his face lit up with genuine joy. His shirt clung to his chest with sweat, and I forced myself to look at his face, only his face. "That kid of yours is something special," he said, slightly out of breath. "Pure natural talent combined with the heart of a lion. Gets his determination from his mom, I'd bet." "What makes you think I'm determined?" "Because you've been to every single practice, every single game, rain or shine. Because you organize the team snacks with military precision that would make a general weep with pride. And because—" He leaned in slightly, his voice dropping to something more intimate. "You haven't run away yet, even though I can tell you want to." My breath caught. The scent of him, grass and soap and something uniquely masculine, made my head spin. "Run away from what?" "From whatever it is you're hiding from." His eyes held mine, stripping away pretenses. "It takes one to know one, Emma. I've got my own closet full of skeletons." Before I could respond, Tyler bounded over, breaking the spell. "Mom, did you see that goal? Coach says I could play college level if I keep training." "I saw, sweetheart. You were amazing." I hugged my son, using the embrace to steady my racing heart. When I looked up, Ryan was watching us with an expression I couldn't quite read. Something soft and almost wistful. Our eyes met over Tyler's shoulder, and in that moment, something shifted between us. An understanding. An acknowledgement that we were both carrying invisible wounds. And perhaps, just perhaps, we could help each other heal. If this story is already making you feel something, hit that like button and let me know you're here. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. The weeks that followed brought an unexpected ritual. After every practice, Ryan would find a reason to walk me to my car. Sometimes it was to discuss Tyler's progress. Sometimes it was to ask for my input on team strategies. But increasingly it was simply to talk. "Favorite movie?" he asked one evening as we lingered by my car. Neither of us ready to say goodbye. "The Notebook," I admitted. "I know it's cliché. I'll allow it. Mine is Field of Dreams." "Of course it is. You're a coach. It's about more than baseball," he protested, leaning against my car door with casual grace. "It's about second chances. About hearing a call and having the courage to follow it, even when everyone thinks you're crazy." "And have you followed a crazy call?" His expression grew thoughtful. "I'm starting to. What about you, Emma Mitchell? What call have you been ignoring?" The question felt loaded with meaning. I looked at this man who seemed to see straight through me, and for a wild moment I wanted to tell him everything. About the accident. About my sister. About the guilt that had shaped every decision for 15 years. Instead I said, "I'll let you know when I figure it out." His smile was slow and devastating. "I'll be waiting." Our connection deepened through small moments. A shared umbrella during an unexpected downpour. His jacket draped over my shoulders when the evening grew cold. The way he would seek me out in a crowd, his eyes finding mine like a compass finding north. "You know what I love about you, Emma?" he said one evening as we watched the sunset paint the field in shades of gold and amber. My heart stopped. "What?" "You laugh like you're surprised you still can. Like joy is this foreign visitor you weren't expecting, and you're not sure whether to let it in." He turned to look at me, the dying light catching the gold in his eyes. "I want to make you laugh until it feels like home again. That's quite a goal for a soccer coach. What can I say? I'm an overachiever." He grinned then grew serious. "My wife left 3 years ago. Took our daughter Sophie, moved to California. I get summers and every other Christmas. I know what it feels like to wake up and wonder if you'll ever feel whole again." The vulnerability in his confession broke something open in me. My husband died 3 years ago. Heart attack. He was working late at the office and I got the call at 2 a.m. One moment he was there. The next, I couldn't finish. Ryan's hand found mine, his fingers intertwining with my own like they belonged there. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry too. For your loss. For your daughter. Sophie's adjusting. Kids are resilient. But those first few months." He shook his head. "I didn't want to get out of bed. Coaching saved me. Gave me something to focus on besides the hole in my chest." "What else helps?" I asked, genuinely curious. "With the loneliness?" He was quiet for a moment. "Honestly, this. Talking to you. Watching you pretend you're not as interested in me as I am in you. I don't." I started to protest, but his knowing look stopped me. "Emma, I've been flirting with you for 2 months. You blush every time but you keep coming back. If you weren't interested, you'd have started sending Tyler to practice with another parent by now." I had no response to that because he was absolutely right. "I'm not asking for anything," he continued gently. "I know you're not ready, but I wanted you to know that when you are ready, I'll be here." We sat in comfortable silence as the last light faded. Our fingers still intertwined, two broken people finding unexpected shelter in each other's presence. The antagonist entered my life disguised as a friend. Victoria Hayes moved to town with the subtlety of a hurricane and the charm of a snake. She was everything I wasn't: bold, aggressive, unapologetic. Blonde hair perfectly styled, designer clothes that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage, and a smile that never quite reached her ice blue eyes. She also set her sights on Ryan the moment she saw him. "I hear you've been getting cozy with our handsome coach," she said to me one afternoon at the grocery store, blocking my path in the cereal aisle like a predator cornering prey. "We're friendly," I replied carefully. "He coaches my son." "Friendly." She laughed, but there was no warmth in it. "That's cute. Very small town, very quaint. But I should warn you, Emma, I always get what I want. And I want him." Her confidence should have intimidated me. Instead, it sparked something defensive, almost territorial. "Ryan's a grown man. He can make his own choices." "Can he? Even if I tell him what I know about you?" Victoria's smile sharpened. "We have mutual acquaintances, Emma. Or should I say, Elizabeth." The blood drained from my face. Elizabeth. My birth name. The name I had legally changed 15 years ago after the accident, when I had moved across the country to escape my past. "I don't know what you're talking about," I managed. "Don't you? Think you do. I think you remember exactly what happened in Connecticut in 2009. And I think you'd do anything to make sure no one else finds out." She patted my arm with mock sympathy. "Don't worry. Your secret is safe with me. For now." What I didn't know then was that Victoria wasn't just a romantic rival. She was connected to my past in ways I couldn't have imagined. She had known my late husband, David. And she knew exactly what I had done 15 years ago, the choice I had made that haunted my every waking moment. The next few weeks were torture of a different kind. Victoria inserted herself into every soccer event, every team gathering, every moment where Ryan and I might have found time alone. She was charming when she needed to be, ruthless when she thought no one was watching. "She's up to something," Patricia observed during a team fundraiser. "That woman has villain written all over her Botoxed forehead." She knows things, I whispered, about my past. Before I moved here. Patricia's expression shifted to concern. What things? Things I've never told anyone. Not even you. Emma, whatever it is, you can tell me. I'm not going anywhere. But I couldn't. Not yet. The words were locked behind years of shame and fear, and I didn't know how to set them free. Meanwhile, Ryan seemed oblivious to Victoria's machinations, which only made her more aggressive. One evening, I arrived at practice to find her standing too close to him, her hand on his arm, her laugh artificially bright. Something hot and unexpected flared in my chest. Jealousy. I hadn't felt jealous in years. Hadn't let myself care enough about anyone to feel threatened by competition. But watching Victoria touch Ryan, watching her try to claim him, I realized just how much he had come to mean to me. Ryan looked up and caught my eye across the field. Without breaking his gaze from mine, he gently removed Victoria's hand from his arm and stepped away from her. The message was clear, even from a distance. Victoria's eyes narrowed as she followed his gaze. When she saw me, her smile turned predatory. The battle lines had been drawn. I need to tell you something, I said to Ryan after practice that night. Tyler was getting a ride with a teammate, and we had precious minutes alone. I'm listening. Victoria. She's not what she seems. She's been threatening me. She knows something about my past, and she's using it against me. Ryan's expression hardened. What kind of threats? She wants you to stay away from me. Says if you don't, she'll expose my secret to everyone. What secret? The moment of truth. I took a deep breath. Before I was Emma Mitchell, I was Elizabeth Parker. I changed my name after something terrible happened. Something I was responsible for. I expected him to pull away, to look at me with suspicion or disgust. Instead, he stepped closer. Whatever happened, it doesn't change how I feel about you. You don't even know what I did. Then tell me. When you're ready. But Emma. He cupped my face in his hands, a gesture so tender it made my eyes sting. I've spent enough time with you to know your heart. Whatever you're carrying, it's not going to scare me away. You can't promise that. Watch me. And then in the parking lot of the community soccer field, with the stars just beginning to appear overhead, Ryan Cooper kissed me. It wasn't a passionate, consuming kiss, not yet. It was gentle, questioning, giving me every opportunity to pull away. When I instead melted into him and kissed him back, he made a sound of relief and wrapped his arms around me like I was something precious he had been waiting for. When we finally broke apart, both of us breathless, he rested his forehead against mine. Worth the wait, he murmured. We haven't even been on a date yet. Then let me fix that. Friday night. I'll pick you up at 7. Despite everything, Victoria's threats, my secrets, the fear clawing at my chest, I found myself smiling. It's a date. Cliffhanger. What you're about to hear will change everything. Friday arrived with blue skies and a flutter of butterflies in my stomach that made me feel like a teenager again. Patricia came over to help me get ready, declaring the occasion too important for your usual ponytail situation. You have gorgeous hair, she scolded, running a brush through my chestnut waves. It's a crime the way you hide it. I just don't usually bother. Tonight you bother. That man looks at you like you hung the moon. The least you can do is look like you might have actually visited the moon once or twice. When Ryan arrived at 7 sharp, I opened the door to find him holding wildflowers. Not a fancy bouquet from a shop, but actual wildflowers clearly picked from a field somewhere. These reminded me of you, he said. Beautiful, resilient, and a little wild underneath the polished surface. You think I'm polished? I think you work very hard to appear polished. But I've seen you lose your composure over a controversial ref call. There's a lioness hiding behind those elegant features. Tyler appeared behind me, arms crossed. Coach Ryan, you're taking my mom out. With your permission, Tyler. My son studied his coach with the intensity only a protective teenager can muster. What are your intentions? Tyler, I exclaimed, mortified. But Ryan took the question seriously. My intentions are to make your mom smile. Maybe get her to laugh so hard she snorts, which I suspect she does but has never let anyone witness. and to prove to her that she deserves to be happy. Tyler considered this acceptable. Have her home by 11. Tyler, I'm the parent here. 11:30, Tyler conceded, then retreated back inside. Ryan grinned. I like that kid. He's something else. Wonder where he gets it. The restaurant Ryan chose was a small Italian place I had never noticed before, tucked away on a side street with fairy lights strung across the patio and candles on every table. Intimate without being overwhelming. How did you find this place? I asked as we were seated. I asked around for somewhere that felt like magic. Multiple people suggested here. You asked around for somewhere magical? I wanted tonight to be special. You deserve special, Emma. Over dinner, the conversation flowed effortlessly. We talked about our childhoods. His in Oregon, mine in Connecticut, though I carefully avoided certain years. We talked about dreams abandoned and dreams still flickering. We talked about the strange loneliness of being surrounded by people while feeling invisible. The worst part of my divorce, Ryan admitted over tiramisu, wasn't losing my wife. We had grown apart years before. The worst part was the silence. Coming home to an empty house, no one to tell about my day. No one to care whether I came home at all. I know that silence, I said softly. After David died, I used to leave the TV on just to have another voice in the house. Tyler would go to bed and I would just exist in the noise. And now I'm learning that silence can be peaceful instead of lonely. That being alone doesn't have to mean being abandoned. You're not alone anymore, Emma. He reached across the table, taking my hand. Not if you don't want to be. After dinner, we walked along the waterfront, the moon reflecting off the gentle waves. Ryan had taken off his jacket and draped it over my shoulders again, a gesture becoming endearingly familiar. Can I ask you something? He said as we paused by the railing. Anything. This secret of yours, the one Victoria's holding over you, is it something that would make me stop wanting to know you? I was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. That's what terrifies me. Try me. So I told him the beginning. Not everything, not yet, but enough. I told him about my sister Jessica, 3 years younger than me, the light of our family. I told him about the night of her college graduation party, both of us too young and too reckless. I told him about the wet roads and the moment I lost control of the car. She died instantly, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I walked away without a scratch. The official report blamed a mechanical failure, but I know the truth. I was driving too fast. I was distracted. I killed my own sister. Ryan said nothing at first. My heart pounded as I waited for him to let go of my hand, to make excuses and pull away. Instead, he drew me closer. You were a kid yourself. How old were you? 19. And you've been carrying this for 15 years? Every single day. Oh, Emma. He pressed a kiss to my forehead. That's not a secret that scares me away. That's a tragedy that makes me want to hold you until the guilt stops crushing you. How can you say that? I killed someone. My own sister. You were in an accident. A terrible, tragic accident that you've clearly never forgiven yourself for. But you were 19 years old and you've spent 15 years punishing yourself. Isn't that enough? I didn't know how to answer that. The idea that I might someday deserve forgiveness felt foreign, almost impossible. I'm not going anywhere, Ryan repeated, his arms around me on that moonlit boardwalk. Whatever else you need to tell me, whenever you're ready, I'll still be here. For the first time in 15 years, I allowed myself to believe that might be true. But Victoria was watching. Always watching. The night of the championship game, Tyler played the match of his life. The team won, and the celebration was electric. Parents were hugging, players were cheering, and somewhere in the chaos, Ryan pulled me into his arms and swung me around like we were the only two people in the world. Your son is a champion, he laughed. Our team is champion, I corrected. Thanks to their amazing coach. He set me down but didn't let go. Meet me after? There's something I need to tell you. What is it? Later. Enjoy the celebration first. But as the crowd began to thin, Ryan pulled me aside with an expression that had shifted from joy to concern. There's something I need to tell you, he said. His usual humor replaced by something urgent. Something about Victoria. What about her? She came to me last week. Said she had information about you, about your past. She said if I didn't stay away from you, she'd make sure everyone knew you were a murderer. She'd destroy you. And what did you say? I told her she could go to hell. That whatever she thought she knew, it didn't change anything. He gripped my shoulders. But Emma, she's planning something. I don't know what exactly, but she's been asking questions around town. About you, about David, about your life before you moved here. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Tyler. Mom, where are you? Something weird happened. Someone left an envelope on our doorstep. It has pictures of you and Aunt Jessica in it. My blood ran cold. Tyler didn't know. He thought Jessica had been my best friend, not my sister. He didn't know about the name change, the accident, any of it. I have to go. I'm coming with you. When we arrived at my house, Tyler was standing on the porch, holding a manila envelope with shaking hands. Inside were photographs, me and Jessica at her graduation, the newspaper clipping about the accident, and a note in neat handwriting. Does your son know his mother is a killer? Does he know his Aunt Jessica was actually his mother's sister? Tell him the truth or I will. Ryan's arm came around my shoulders. We'll figure this out. She wants to destroy me. And she's going to use my own son to do it. Then we don't give her the chance. He turned me to face him. Tell Tyler the truth. Tonight. On your terms. Before Victoria can weaponize it. I looked at my son, this beautiful boy I had raised alone for 3 years, who thought he knew everything about his mother. The thought of seeing his faith in me shatter was almost unbearable. But Ryan was right. I couldn't let Victoria control this narrative. Tyler, I said, my voice steadier than I expected. We need to talk. If you're invested in Emma's story, drop a comment telling me what you'd do in her situation. And subscribe so you don't miss the resolution. Cliffhanger 2. The truth about Tyler changes everything. The conversation with Tyler was the hardest of my life. We sat on the living room couch, Tyler, Ryan, and me, as I unraveled 15 years of carefully constructed lies. Before I was Emma Mitchell, my name was Elizabeth Parker. I had a younger sister named Jessica. She was everything good in the world. Bright, funny kind. And I killed her. Tyler's face went pale. Mom. It was an accident. We were coming home from her graduation party. I was driving too fast, the roads were wet, and I lost control. She died and I survived. I changed my name, moved here, met your father, and tried to build a new life. But the guilt never went away. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was ashamed. Because I didn't want you to look at me the way you're looking at me now. I'm not. Mom, I don't think you're a monster. I just don't understand why you hid it. Because hiding was easier than facing it. Because every time I looked in the mirror, I saw the girl who killed her sister. I didn't want you to see her too. Tyler was quiet for a long moment. Then he moved across the couch and wrapped his arms around me. You're still my mom. Nothing changes that. I sobbed into his shoulder, 15 years of fear finally beginning to release its grip. But we weren't done yet. Ryan's hand found mine. There's something else you should know. Something Victoria revealed when she was trying to turn me against you. What? She and David had an affair. Years ago, before Tyler was born. When David ended it, Victoria threatened to expose your secret, but David protected you. He paid her to stay silent. The revelation stole my breath. David had known about Victoria all along. He had known and he had protected me even then. Whatever flaws our marriage had held, he had loved me enough to guard my deepest secret. She's been waiting, I realized. Waiting for him to die so she could finally use what she knew. She's a bitter, vindictive woman, Ryan said. But she's not going to win. We won't let her. How do we stop her? By taking away her power. She's planning to expose you because she thinks shame is your weakness. So we take away the shame. We tell your story first on your terms before she can twist it. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of preparation. With Ryan and Patricia's help, I drafted a letter to the community. Not a confession of guilt, but an honest account of a tragedy that had shaped my life. I talked about the accident, about my years of running, about finding redemption through Tyler, and through the love of friends who had become family. Ryan was beside me every step of the way. When I doubted myself, he reminded me of my strength. When I wanted to give up, he held me until the fear passed. When the words wouldn't come, he sat with me in silence, his presence a steady anchor in the storm. "You're remarkable, you know that?" I told him one night as we sat on my porch watching the stars. "I'm just a guy who happens to be crazy about a remarkable woman. I'm serious. You didn't have to stay. You didn't have to get involved in my mess. But you did. Emma, from the moment I met you, I knew there was something special about you. Something wounded but beautiful, like a statue that's been broken and put back together with gold. The Japanese call it kintsugi, the art of precious scars. Your cracks don't make you less valuable. They make you irreplaceable. How do you always know exactly what to say?" "I don't. I just say what's true and hope for the best." He pulled me closer. "I love you, Emma Mitchell. All of you, including the parts you've been afraid to show. I love you too." The words came easier than I expected, maybe because they had been true for longer than I had admitted. "I think I've loved you since you called me cinema-worthy while covered in carpool crumbs." He laughed, that full-bodied sound that always made my heart soar. "See? I knew my terrible flirting would pay off eventually." The day we released my letter, I held my breath and waited for the world to end. It didn't. Instead, I received messages of support. Former classmates who remembered Jessica and had always wondered what happened to her sister. Parents from the soccer team who admired my courage. Complete strangers who had their own stories of guilt and redemption. Victoria's planned exposé fell flat. With my truth already public, there was nothing left to reveal. Her narrative of a hidden murderer didn't work when I had already claimed my story, complete with the nuance and humanity she had tried to strip away. She eventually left town, her reputation in tatters, her power over me completely broken. I heard later that she had moved to Florida, far from anyone who knew her history of manipulation and cruelty. Good riddance. And that brings us back to the rainy night. The night Ryan drove me home. The night I received that terrifying photo of Tyler. It had been Victoria's final move. A staged photo designed to send me into a panic before I could publish my letter. Tyler had never been in any danger. The image had been photoshopped from a social media post. Victoria had counted on my fear to make me do something rash, something she could use against me. But I didn't run. I didn't hide. Instead, I turned to the man beside me and let him be my partner in facing the storm. When Ryan pulled up to my house that rainy night, the storm had gentled to a soft drizzle. We sat in silence, both of us aware that something significant was about to happen. "Emma," he said softly, "these past months with you, they've been everything. I didn't think I could feel this way again after my divorce. I didn't think I wanted to. But you changed that. Even with all my baggage, all my secrets. Especially then. Your scars don't make you damaged. They make you real. They make you brave." He turned to face me fully. "I want to build a life with you. Whatever that looks like, however long it takes. I'm in." I looked at this man who had seen the worst of me and chosen to stay. This man who had helped me face my demons and come out the other side. This man who made me laugh, made me feel beautiful, made me believe I deserved happiness. "Do you want to come inside?" I asked, my voice steady for the first time in years. "It's still early. We could open a bottle of wine, talk about what comes next." His eyes met mine, and in them I saw my future. Imperfect, uncertain, but filled with possibility. "I thought you'd never ask." That night, under the roof of the house where I had grieved and healed and hidden, I allowed myself to fall in love fully and without reservation. Not the desperate, guilty love I had shared with David, but something new. Something built on honesty and acceptance, and the understanding that broken people can build beautiful things together. We talked for hours, curled up on my couch with wine and candles while the rain continued its gentle percussion outside. We talked about dreams and fears, about Tyler and Sophie, about what a blended family might look like. We talked about my sister, and I showed him the box of photographs I had kept hidden for 15 years. "She would have liked you," I said, tracing Jessica's smile in one of the pictures. She always said I needed someone who could make me laugh. I intend to spend the rest of my life trying, Ryan replied. When he finally left that night, with the lingering kiss at the door that promised more to come, I stood in my living room and felt something I barely recognized. Peace. 6 months later, Ryan moved in. Tyler gave his blessing with a teenage eye roll and a genuine hug. Sophie came for summer vacation and immediately bonded with her new, almost stepbrother, over video games and soccer. Our blended family wasn't perfect, whose is? Tyler and Sophie had their squabbles, and Ryan and I had to navigate the complexities of combining two wounded lives. But every challenge was met with communication, humor, and an unwavering commitment to choose each other, every single day. On the first anniversary of our relationship, Ryan took me back to the Italian restaurant where we'd had our first date. The fairy lights still sparkled, the candles still flickered, and somehow it felt even more magical than before. "I have something for you," he said after dessert, pulling out a small velvet box. My heart stopped. "Ryan, relax, it's not what you think." He grinned. "Not yet, anyway." I opened the box to find a delicate gold bracelet with a single charm, a small glittering soccer ball. "That's where I found you," he explained. "On a soccer field, pretending to watch your son while you were actually checking out the coach." I was not. I started to protest, but he silenced me with a kiss. "You absolutely were. And I thank God for it every day." As he clasped the bracelet around my wrist, I caught the inscription on the inside. "Precious scars. Kintsugi," I whispered. "You're my golden repair, Emma. You made me whole again." And on the anniversary of my sister's death, I visited her grave for the first time since leaving Connecticut. Ryan and Tyler came with me, standing beside me as I finally said the words I had been carrying for 15 years. "I'm sorry, Jess. I'm sorry I was driving that night. I'm sorry I didn't protect you. I'm sorry I ran away instead of facing what I'd done." I placed flowers on her headstone, wildflowers, like the ones Ryan had given me on our first date. "But I'm not running anymore. I'm learning to live again." I hope. That's what you would have wanted. The wind rustled through the trees, and for a moment, I could have sworn I heard her voice. "About time, Lizzie." I laughed through my tears. Ryan's arm came around me, steady and warm. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready." If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who might need to hear that redemption is possible. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment about what moved you most. Your support helps us create more stories that matter. The message I learned through all of this is simple but profound. Our past does not define our future. The mistakes we make, however terrible, do not have to be the end of our story. Guilt is not a life sentence. It's a teacher, meant to show us how to do better, be better, love better. I spent 15 years believing I didn't deserve happiness. I was wrong. We all deserve a second chance. We all deserve to step out of the shadows and into the light. And sometimes the ride home is just the beginning of the journey forward. Ryan proposed on a spring afternoon, exactly 1 year after our first kiss. He did it on the soccer field, surrounded by the team we had both grown to love, with Tyler and Sophie cheering and Patricia ugly crying into her husband's shoulder. "I don't have a speech prepared," Ryan admitted, down on one knee with a ring that sparkled in the sunlight. "I just know that every morning I wake up grateful that you got into my car that first rainy night. I know that loving you has been the greatest gift of my life. And I know that I want to spend whatever time I have left making sure you never doubt how extraordinary you are." "Is that all?" I teased, tears streaming down my face. "Also, you're really pretty and you laugh at my jokes. That's important. Very important. So what do you say, Emma Mitchell? Will you marry me?" "Yes," I said, and the word felt like freedom. 1,000 times yes. We married on a fall afternoon, with the leaves turning gold and red around us like nature's confetti. Tyler walked me down the aisle, trying to look stoic and mostly succeeding. Sophie was my junior bridesmaid, having declared that if she couldn't be maid of honor, Patricia claimed that title. She wanted a special role anyway. As I walked toward Ryan, I thought about the journey that had brought me here. The guilt, the hiding, the years of believing I was unworthy of love. And then the slow, patient healing. The soccer fields and rainy nights. The man who had seen my broken pieces and chosen to help me put them back together with gold. Our vows were simple. I promised to see you, Ryan said. The real you, not the mask you wear for the world. I promised to make you laugh, to hold you when you cry, and to remind you every single day that your past is not your future. I promised to stop hiding, I said. From you, from myself, from the life I've been afraid to fully live. I promised to be brave, to be honest, and to love you with everything I have, scars and all. When we kissed, I heard Jessica's voice again, carried on the autumn breeze. Asterisk about time, Lizzie. About time. Asterisk. And she was right. It was about time I started living. Thank you for taking this journey with us. If you want more stories of love, redemption, and second chances, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Every like and comment helps us reach more people who might need to hear these stories. Until next time, remember, it's never too late to start over. Your story isn't finished yet. 3 years later, I sit on our back porch watching Ryan teach Tyler's little sister, our daughter born just a year ago, how to kick a tiny soccer ball across the grass. Tyler is home from his first year of college, helping with exaggerated enthusiasm. Sophie, now a permanent fixture in our lives after her mother remarried and moved closer, is filming the whole thing for social media. This is my life now. Messy, beautiful, imperfect, and more full of love than I ever imagined possible. I still visit Jessica's grave every year. I still carry the weight of that night in 2009. But the weight is lighter now, shared with a partner who refuses to let me bear it alone. Ryan catches my eye across the yard and grins, that same crooked smile that caught my attention on a soccer field all those years ago. You're staring again, he calls. Just watching my family, I call back. And I am. My family. My second chance. My precious golden life. Built from the broken pieces of my past into something stronger and more beautiful than I ever dreamed. The ride home was just the beginning. And I can't wait to see where the road takes us next.